Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, the Truth Buster, and today's December 2nd, 2015. Well, I would be lying if I said if it never stopped to cease to amaze me, which it does. The treason we see carried out across the globe on a daily basis by every form of government and their agencies throughout the globe. But here we're leading the pack for others to follow suit and join the ranks. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you need to start doing some homework and research to find out, wow, this is what's really occurring. And when I say things such as, treason, and acts of treason being committed here in this country, well, just look at the headlines on the news all throughout the globe and here, and you can start to put the pieces of that puzzle together. But I don't have the article in front of me as of yet, but I'm sure a lot of you quite know that there was another shooting in this land of ours where there was another casualty that has taken place and more blood was spilled on these streets. The shooting that went down in San Bernardino County, my home state of California. I will do a piece on that. I just need to get the articles to compile the truth through the deception. But since we're on this current topic right now, excuse me, I have an article from November 18th, 2015 from All News Pipeline titled, "Did Obama just hint and muster a false flag for his final year in office? Sleeper cells being brought into America in preparation for ultimate takedown." Yes, it's a little late, but it's relevant to what is occurring today. And I've seen a couple videos thus far on the shooting. And the videos that I've watched, well, guess what? There was a shooting drill that had occurred right before the shooting took place. Isn't that interesting? Whenever there's an active shooter drill before a traumatic event of treason to take away our freedoms and liberties is executed in this land, there's an active shooter drill before. And a couple of videos have reported on that already. That law agencies were carrying out a drill a short distance away from the incident took place. Professor Doom has pointed it out thus far, so props to him on that one. And I will do my own piece on this. But he's the one who pointed it out, that there was law agencies nearby executing a drill. But getting back to the article here, where it says, whoever says ISIS has no connection to Islam is a liar. ISIS is Islam. Islam has ISIS. A Syrian sister, Hatain Duggan. And that's from CNN News. Since news broke Tuesday that a Syrian refugee in the Louisiana area was suddenly missing from WBRZ.com, Catholic Charities help Syrian refugee in Baton Rouge, combined with word from a refugee resettlement group that we don't track them. And that's from the AmericanMirror.com. Syrian refugee camp refugee group admits we won't track them. Anyways, Louisiana state leaders and American citizens have every right to be infuriated with those that not only allow but pushing this well-planned invasion of America. Obama the Destroyer accelerates, and that's on PHP, while Barack Obama continues to downplay this invasion. Syria's ambassador tells us that possibly 20% of the Muslim migrants may have ties to ISIS. TheNewAmerican.com reported. If everything else we've been reporting on up and recently isn't bad enough, we've also learned Tuesday from the Washington Times that Barack Obama says gun control should be the top issue of his final year. Obama says gun control be top issue of final year, WashingtonTimes.com. And in the story, he drops a hint that a massive and sustained false flag attack might be in the works for the end of 2015. And that it just might carry into 2016. Now, I'm going to stop right here, where it covers the Muslim invasion. I saw a video from Elite NW Agenda YouTube channel where they did a brief piece on this situation, and reports that came out that these suspect, guess what, had a Muslim name. So instantly I thought, okay, number one, this is a false flag. Number two, ISIS. Because I seen videos last week that others had put out. Professor Doom put a video up that a cache of weapons at military bases have mysteriously came up missing. Doom and others have reported on this. Somebody had just gained access right through the base and got a cache of weapons. With word that obvious sleeper cells are being led into the country via the Syrian refugees, as shared in the first video below from Alex Jones, we learn that we are now witnessing the unfolding of the globalist plans for global war. Kim Abdullah warns of World War III, and that's his PHP, and global civil war, as Americans and those living in Western nations are being set up for the ultimate takedown. Asked by interviewer Bill Simmons of HBO if gun control will be the dominant issue on his agenda next year, Barack Obama replied, "I hope so. We have this weird habit in this culture of warning, and 48, 72 hours of wall-to-wall coverage, and then suddenly we move on," Dictator Obama said, "and I will do everything I can to make sure there's a sustained attention paid to this thing." Does that sound familiar? The other scumbag, there's a screenshot of the former Attorney General, Eric Holder. Take a good look. And that's his own quote. It says, "What we need to do is change the way people think about guns. We need to do this every day of the week. And just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way." Attorney General Eric Holder. Since the FBI now announced that they are bracing for holiday terror from ISIS, and that's from the Washington Times.com, an article from November 17th, in the U.S., we realize we're witnessing a well-planned invasion and attempt to overthrow America. Obama's terrorist invasion of the U.S., PHP, and the West is Steve Quayle tells us in the first video below, in his visit with Jones and InfoWars, we're now being set up for the ultimate takedown of borders, language, and culture. Yahoo News told yesterday that the UN is warning European nations about backtracking on migrant commitments. And we have to ask why the UN is pushing potential terror upon Europe, and who gave them the authority to warn Europe in the first place. Is this more proof of global government? The UN clearly needs to be put back in their proper place. Yet our own Secretary of State, John Kerry, recently let his true feelings be known about terrorism and the mass slaughter of innocent human beings. You can find this article Politico.com, November 11th, November 2015, entitled John Kerry Paris Attacks Charlie Hebdo. When he said this, Secretary of State John Kerry suggested on Tuesday there was a rationale for the assault on satirical French weekly Charlie Hebdo, unlike the more recent attacks in Paris. There's something different about what happened from Charlie Hebdo, and I think everybody will feel that, Kerry said in Paris, according to a transcript of his remarks. There was a sort of particularized focus and perhaps even a legitimacy in terms of not a legitimacy, but a rationale that you could attach yourself to somehow and say, okay, they're really angry because of this and that. Did John Kerry really say that it was okay to kill cartoonists based on upon their drawings, and that everyone would feel that the terrorist's anger towards the cartoonist is okay? Remember, 12 people were slaughtered over drawings of someone who lived thousands of years ago, and suddenly our own Secretary of State thinks that the cartoonist's slaughter was done with a rationale, with a slip of the tongue, like that, from Kerry. We have to ask, where is this leading? And there's also a screenshot in relation to the false flag. Guns will be confiscated. We could quickly get the answer to that, as governors from more than half of the states of America are now revolting against the federal government. And this is from TopRightNews.com. Here is the latest map of states that find Obama refusing to take in Syrian refugees, and Barack Obama's orders for the states to take Syrian refugees, and see what could soon be filled a full-fledged war playing out on the political front between states and feds. And no one knows where this war might lead, with Obama now saying that Republican anti-terrorist rhetoric has to stop. That's from the Huffington Post. And it has to become a recruiting tool for ISIS. What do you call it when the president of the U.S. himself is allowing terrorists to flee into the country? Treason? I would think so. Obama the Destroyer even had the gall to call Republicans opposed to widows and orphans being led into America as sacred. Remember, this is the same man who said ISIS was contained hours before the Paris attacks even were carried out. Meanwhile, we see almost nothing but fighting aged men in the Syrian refugees. If Barack Obama thinks that these are people are widows and orphans, he clearly doesn't have a clue. Well, of course he does. That's what he's bringing in here. He also lashed out at requests that more Christian refugees be brought into America, while so far 53 of the Syrian refugees in America have been Christian, while nearly 3,000 have been Muslim. That is from CNS News. As ISIS continues their work and traditions are unabated, is Donald Trump correct when he suggests we could be witnessing the biggest Trojan horse in history and the assembling of a potential 200,000-man terrorist army in America? If Trump is right, why would Obama be enabling this? Unless he was working to bring down America, are these the kinds of moves by Obama that would require the U.S. military to intervene and remove him from office, as suggested by 2 former U.S. generals? Why do the mainstream media and Barack Obama continue to say that Syrian refugees are no threat? Why Syrian refugees are no threat, PHP, when Paris already has been proven otherwise? So, you get the idea. This is a lengthy article, and my time is running short. But we're going to see false flags, and I'm pretty sure that this one today was a false flag. Like I said, I will bring you more evidence to prove that. I want to thank you for tuning in. Prepare. Be ready. It's on. God bless. Have a great day.